What's up, guys? This is Chokenator again. Have another Smash Q&A for you. First of all, I want to say thank you for those who are actually interested in my content. It's actually really surprising that people are watching this and subbing to me and stuff. So I want to thank you guys for taking a moment to listen. I'm happy that what I have to say for you is pretty interesting. But anyway, I have another question from Jason Fagundes. Sorry that I'm doing these questions kind of out of order, but I thought this one was a really interesting and a really important one. So Jason asks, thoughts on mentality and how your mentality has shaped over the years. Also, how do you go through a phase in life where you've got a lot going on before a tournament? And I wrote out some notes for an answer here, and I identified four main struggles that I had with my mentality growing up. And if you had some of your own, let me know in the comments below if you had some that weren't these. But hopefully I cover most of these bases. The first one, and I think the really most simple mental struggle, is salt. And this is getting angry over a loss. And you know, I've been competitive Smasher for since 2004, so that means 16 years now. Wait, 16 years? No, sorry, the math is wrong. For 14 years now. What the heck? So my first tournament was 2004, but I have been dealing salt since long before that. I started playing Street Fighter when I was 6 years old. 5 years old, I'm pretty sure. And I've gone through different versions of Street Fighter. I started with Super Turbo, and then I started playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 for console, and then I was playing Third Strike later on in high school. And that's also the time when I was still playing Smash competitively. And ever since the beginning, I've been coming up with some crazy, you know, excuses for losing, like, oh, you suck, or oh, you're cheap, you're lame. I was getting salty, and sometimes I wanted to like hurt the guy who was fighting me. And that's part of the reason why I never get salty now, is because it's something I had to deal with, and you know, just growing up, I just hated my opponents sometimes. But the answer to getting salty, sort of the sweeping answer, is the old Melee classic, the Melee community classic, No Johns. And there were old threads on Smashboards explaining what a John really is. And a John could extend to literally anything you say after a loss. Just literally anything. Like, just don't say anything. Don't say any words after you lose. Just hold the L and keep going. Like, you know, the basic Johns, there's like, oh, my controller was messed up. Oh, you know, my hand was cold. Or my like those are the self Johns. Then there's your opponent Johns. Oh, my opponent's good. My opponent's ranked top 100. Or, oh, my opponent was being super cheap. Or oh, I've never learned that matchup before. Like, literally anything. Like, there's no such thing as a legit John, right? I used to say, oh, even cold hands is a legit John. No, that's something you could take care of before the match, right? There's, like, everything, you know, all Johns that are in your control is something you got to take care of. And understand that winning is your own responsibility. Learning how to play the game is your own responsibility. And this extends not just in Smash and any fighting games, but anything in life. Just really adapting into that no Johns mentality helps you learn to be responsible for everything that's in your control. The only thing you can't really control is how much other people practice, you know. But you can control your own fate. Obviously, you can't control if you win or lose, because that's also, you know, that's why it's a competition. The other guy can have control of that too. But everything that's in your control before and after the match, don't say a word to yourself after you lose. Just lose, and get ready from there. And that's why or I'm gonna address like adaptation later in the video too. The second one, so the first one was salt. The second one is focus. So I noticed your second question. It says, how do you go through a phase in life where you've got a lot going on before the tournament? And now, if possible, you want to take care of that first, right? If you got a lot of stuff going on outside the tournament, take care of it outside the tournament. Like, just take care of that first. If it's distracting your play, then you just got to get rid of it, you know? Now, that's not always possible. Now, there was a tournament, especially around Battleground time, where I was going through a really rough patch. And I remember at the Battleground Games tournament, I took that anger that I had in my heart, that resentment and that bitterness, and I was really sad and depressed. I took that and I tried to channel it in the game. I tried to express myself and express my attitudes in the game. Now, a lot of times this is going to make people play worse. But for some reason, I was able to play really aggressively that day. I was able to play with high level of focus. And you have to, because emotions give you energy. And even if it's sadness or anger or negative emotions, you can channel those, right? It's like your classic anti-hero, like your Sasuke or your Vegeta, like they use negative emotions as fuel to play well. Now, obviously, you don't want that ideally. Obviously, you want to have calm and focus and very little emotion when you play. But if you have those emotions, you have to try to use it and channel it and not make you play worse. Like if it's going to affect your play style, sure, as long as you're playing well and trying your best to stay aware of what's happening in the game. Now, this mentality stuff is all outside of the game, right? So when it comes to focus, I think the number one priority is to just focus on what's happening in the game. No matter what's happening in your life, you still have in a fighting game, you still have a character in front of you, your own character, you still have the mechanics, and those are the thoughts that have to be in your mind. Those are the thoughts that have to be completely ingrained into your head. Right? You need to meditate before the match. Meditating really helps. Meditate and visualize the match. Visualize your counterplays, your plays, your engages, your evasion, your footsies, like your jump timings, all that stuff, your projectile timings, all that stuff you have to, if you visualize that before your match, visualize how you're going to win, and let your focus be on that instead of anything outside of the game. It's just going to help a lot. So we have salt, we have focus, and then the next one is habits. And so these are things like, even if you've tried to take care of all these other emotional things and all these mental things, in the game, especially if you practice often and you practice wrong, you might fall into habits. And I think this is part of the the mental struggle in the game, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, why'd I do that again? I'm so stupid. You're gonna start beating yourself up over bad habits. And the real solution to this is to study. I think VOD study. Learning your counterplays to strategies that might be giving you trouble, and then joining communities like Discord communities, or I don't know, Smashboard's not really a thing anymore, but you got your Facebook R&D groups. I think for me it's Facebook R&D and the Discord communities that really help. But yeah, and I think another tip for VOD study is a lot of people just like to study their own VODs. For example, people submit a lot of VODs to me so I can analyze them and give them tips. And it's usually me exposing their bad habits from my own experience and making suggestions as to what to do better. But I think there's an even better way to VOD study, and I think this might be very obvious, but something that not enough people do. And that is to study pro VODs. Study the best character, like slow it down, like the way I do VOD study, and like just study every single frame in YouTube. Like there are pros who are going to make way different decisions than what you're making, and they're not always better decisions, but they're usually better decisions than what you're making. For example, if I was to watch a Chudat Icehammer's VOD, there are probably a ton of little nuances that he's doing that I'm not doing that allow him to win the neutral and allow him to get that grab, allow him to get that wobble, and that's something, I haven't even done that, and I think I need to take my own advice and watch a pro VODs. I learned this from Donghwap, who's a League of Legends video creator. Shout out to Donghwap. He said, don't study your own VODs. You're not going to he said you're not going to learn anything. And I disagree with him. I think you can learn something, but I do agree that you're going to learn a lot more if you study the pros. So I hope that helps. Now, the last mental struggle that I have dealt with is burnout. And this is when you're just tired of the game. You feel like your results aren't changing. You feel like, when you practice, you're not getting any better. Sometimes you might even be on tilt. And the more games you play, the worse it gets. Because you just start getting more and more frustrated. And that starts to pile on itself. At that point, that's the time to take a break. Take a walk. Watch a movie. Learn about yourself. Write in your journal. I don't know, like... You want to take a break, and there's something I call optimal rest. If your hands are tired, if your hands are hurting, take a break and rest your hands. If your brain is hurting, if your heart is hurting, take a break until those things feel better. And optimal rest is to really just target those things. If I am mentally tired, I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna watch a movie, and I'm just gonna turn my brain off and do something mundane. Until my brain feels rested, until I feel like, oh, you know what, I'm getting more Smash ideas, I want to go back to Smash and do that, right? So if your body's tired, if your hands are tired, get a wrist brace, stretch your hands, just rest them, just do nothing, leave them limp, just stop activity. Like, optimal rest is to target focus the things that you're tired of, or the things that tire you out. But while you're resting, don't lose your goals. Don't get frustrated and just completely abandon the goals you had in the first place. Rest is in order to make you reach your goals better and faster. Think, it might be counterintuitive, but you can't just work. You got to work, rest, right? So that's actually helps you improve faster than just straight up working. Hold on, this is going out of focus. So I hope those things help. One last thing that people might get frustrated with is that their results, quote unquote, are not changing, right? And in a community of people, if everyone's trying to improve and you lose to the same guy over and over, it doesn't mean you're not improving. I think that's a big thing to point out. Like, even if you lose to the same guy over and over and over, if that guy is improving at the same rate, yes, of course you're going to lose. So what you need to do is not worry about who you're losing to, not worry about like, I'm not getting better, because you probably are if you're practicing. What you should be looking at is your own self. Your opponent is really yourself. And I know I don't want it to feel like deep or zen or anything, but the opponent you're trying to surpass every day is yourself. If one day you can't shield drop, you only shield drop 70% of the time, you defeat yourself and you practice it until you get it 100% of the time. Especially with UCF, it's pretty easy, right? So if you're missing this combo, you're missing this tech chase, your reactions aren't fast enough, improve your reactions, improve your awareness, improve your matchup knowledge. Like, you're trying to surpass yourself. You're not trying to surpass other people to prove yourself, That doesn't get you anywhere. That's going to get you, like, to a certain plateau, but say you beat that guy, then you're just satisfied, right? No, like, you can't be satisfied with that. You have to be the only thing that can satisfy you is your own tiny improvements that you have to scale up every single day. You surpass yourself every single day, and eventually you get to the place you want to be. It's not about other people's goals. It's not about other people. It's about you and the goals you want to reach. So I hope that helps. If there's any other mentality things that you have to question about, if there's any points that I missed, I hope that or just let me know. Just ask me. But for the most part, I hope this video covered most of the points that at least I went through. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that helps you, Jason. And I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll address more of these questions. It might be out of order, but I want to address the really interesting ones. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you later. Peace.